Coming up next, what are 3 things that I wish I knew when I started my collection and started collecting fragrances, what I know now. 3 what I consider really important factors that a lot of people really aren't, I guess, too knowledgeable about when you first start. So I'm trying to help those people, especially those who are just starting. And for those of you who are not, it's kind of fun to look back also and maybe look at some of the quote mistakes we've made. Find out what they are coming up next. Welcome back, everybody, to Joel the Nose. Got my microphone there, okay. Here at the Osme Perfumery, and today doing a video. This is one of those videos where it's kind of like a reflection video. Excuse me. Basically, going to mention 3 things, 3 really big things that I wish I knew when I started my collecting journey that I know now. Okay, right? Hopefully we all kind of progress and learn in anything we're doing in life. And this is no exception when it comes to collecting perfumes and fragrances. So, the first thing, let's get right into this. And I would say, this is in no particular order, but I'll just say number 1. Number 1, the first thing I wish I knew now is that price is not important. And I think some of us, and still to this day, we assume immediately because something is a lot more expensive, that it means it's a lot more better. And yes, that can be the case. That can absolutely be the case. You see some amazing fragrances that maybe cost quite a bit more than some other ones. But when it comes to the niche fragrance world, and this is what I'm talking about, mostly niche fragrances here, is that there are so many great houses and different options that you can get really well-priced fragrances, many for under $200 or $150, if you really do your time and research and look. Come to a place like Osme where they curate the fragrances and bring in top brands for you, and they have all price ranges. That's what you need to do. You need to kind of search it out and look, because I made that mistake at first. I immediately assumed, oh my gosh, once I started learning about niche, these, I got to spend X amount if I have it. A lot of people don't have it, and we all understand money is tight. So do your research and understand that there are so many great houses that do not break the bank. Obviously, I'm still talking about niche fragrances, and yes, I understand these are generally more expensive than designer fragrances, but if you are a niche fan and you prefer niche fragrances, don't worry about price. All right, what is the number 2 point? Number 2 point, and that is performance, right? In the last 15, 20 years, if you look at perfumery, it's been kind of hijacked by this kind of designer world, which then creates, I think, this perception for everyone that these fragrances have to be, just bombs. They have to be fragrance bombs. They have to be just something that absolutely is like projecting and lasting for 10 hours at a time. And of course, I like those. We all like those. But I also have many fragrances in my collection that are designed by great niche houses, by some of the best perfumers in the world, where they're only meant to last for 4 to 5 hours or 6 hours, because that's how they were composed. A lot of times those are going to be fragrances that have more natural, a higher degree of natural fragrance notes than aroma chemicals, or commonly known as synthetic. The perfume world, they know how, the perfumers, especially at the top companies, whether it be designer or niche, they know how to make a fragrance last for 8 to 10 hours. They can load it up with a lot of aroma chemicals like ambroxan, hedione, habanalide. These are kind of white, that's a white musk. There's a lot of notes, isoe, super. These are fragrance notes, molecules, synthetics, that can essentially make a fragrance last for a lot longer. Okay, problem is it also means that fragrances start to all smell alike, and that's why you see in the designer world, all the top fragrances that sell really well all basically smell the same. They're essentially just variations of each other, because they all use those heavy doses of those certain aroma chemicals that give it that longevity and punch. Evaluate each fragrance on its own. Evaluate it for the complexity, for how it makes you feel. not by whether it lasts forever. Of course, have a good mix in your collection. I do, but I'll be honest, I prefer when a fragrance lasts 5 to 6 hours, because then I can put one on at the beginning of the day, and then when I get home from work or maybe later in the day, I can put on another one. And I have so many fragrances, like I know most of you guys do, that if you're not using a couple fragrances a day, you're never going to get through your fragrances, or you're never going to enjoy most of them. So that's a little trick. Lastly, third point, and this actually may be the most important. I've touched on this a little bit before. That is, wear fragrances for yourself. I wish I knew this at the beginning. Of course I knew that, but I guess I relied too heavily on other people's opinions. That can be the salesperson at the department store, any department store you're shopping at where there's fragrances, or it could be at a boutique, it can be anywhere. Don't rely on other people's opinions. It could be a girlfriend, a boyfriend, a friend that's with you. I've said this before, I really think everybody should, when they're perfume shopping or fragrance shopping, do it alone, okay? If you are gonna be with someone, it's gonna be someone that knows your taste really well and can give you an honest opinion. But the problem is other people's opinions will sway you. I've done this before, where when I started my fragrance journey many years ago, I would smell something, but I'd have somebody with me and they're like, I don't really like that. Guess what? They have totally different tastes from me. And then I end up being influenced by that, and maybe I won't buy that fragrance. And I've done this before, and then I come back maybe a year or two later and I think, oh my gosh, and I smell it again, I realize how much I love that fragrance, and I get it, and then I end up loving those fragrances. So wear the fragrance, purchase the fragrance for you. Don't rely on other people's opinions. My suggestion is literally go shopping alone, or if you go with someone, don't really get their opinion. Their nose is different. That's like asking somebody, hey, telling you whether to like a food or not. Yes, I know people, opinions matter and all that, but it really is so personal that to rely on someone else's opinion, which if you look at the psychology of it, we are all heavily influenced by other people's opinions. It's just human nature, so you're going to be swayed away from things that maybe you like. So there you have it. My 3 things that I wish I knew way back when I started my journey many, many years ago, and that I know now that are important for me as I evaluate and wear fragrances. And let me know some of the things, guys, that you actually have learned over the years that you wish you knew when you started, because this is kind of a little fun topic. We can get a good conversation going around all of this. I'll be back soon with another video. Thank you as always for watching. Peace, love, and perfume.